bracketology is still going, and Joe Lunardi just updated his site today, and wow, what people have been wishing for. The Lobos projected now as the number 3 seed, playing Weber State, which I think is pretty cool, a 14 seed in Weber State. Now, if they get a 3 seed, I think it gives them more of a chance of getting to the Sweet 16 because you don't get like some of those mid-major teams that may have gotten overlooked and that'll give you a good game, and that if you have any kind of slip-ups can beat you. You get the overachieving little train that could, and usually you can overpower the little train that could. So it'll give them a chance to, the bracket would be favorable for them getting to the Sweet 16. I think, you just don't ever know because you don't know how people are going to play and stuff like that. Right now, it seems like they're playing like they did at the beginning of the year, and if they go into the tournament playing like that, it could be really interesting, and Lobo fans could be really happy by the end of all of it. Not saying that they would get to the last game. I'm just saying that they probably have a pretty decent run. What do you think?
I think it's kind of interesting that they're a 3 seed because that's the highest ranked seed in tournament they've ever gotten. I mean, are we looking at the best Lobo team ever? I don't think it's there yet. So
they've been a 3 seed. I think they've been a 2 before, haven't they?
No, they've been a 3 seed. We looked this up today, and they had 3 seed is as high as they've ever been.
Yeah, I knew they were close. I knew there was a 3 seed, at least a 3 seed, because the Lobo teams of the past, some of the.
It was 1998.
Back in the day, 98 is when Dave Bliss was here.
3 seed. The thing, I think you're right. Favorable bracket if you get a 3 or 4 seed. They should make it to the Sweet 16. And the only thing that I have problems with is the first round. I think that's going to be the most difficult round other than maybe a Sweet 16 or Elite 8 round for them because the Lobos this year are 5-0 against ranked teams. When it's a big game, this team gets up for it. I mean, that's just their personality.
Yeah.
They get up for those big games. So,
yeah.
I mean, so I like them playing a really low seed like a 14 Weber State rather than being in like the 5-12 situation because if they're like, well, we need to focus on the next game, that could hurt them a lot.
Right.
So, I think it's right where they should be at right now, and they might even squeak into the top 12, top 10 if they beat Utah tomorrow.
Yeah, and if
and speaking of that Utah game, I think their chances are pretty decent as far as. Utah is not going to be a pushover because Boylan's teams aren't a pushover. But at the same time, the Lobos beat that team pretty good here, and they got a lot riding on this. Like you said, they get up for the big games. They know that what they can do. They know how special this can be if they win at Utah. So I think you'll get some different effort from some guys who might, I don't think any of them try to coast, but I just think they'll all be really alert in this game against Utah. And just like you take the UNLV game, I was just looking at towards the end of that game how the ball got out of A.J. Hardiman's hands, and he went after it better than Hank Baskett went after the onside kick in the Super Bowl. I mean, he went after that basketball, and he got it and dumped it off to his teammate, and Coach Alford called a timeout. But, I mean, you see effort like that on the court, and you know that these guys know what's at stake. They know how they need to play. They know that intensity cannot drop a level. So this is a different Lobo team going into Utah than we've seen like in that one stretch when they weren't playing that well. I think they're back to playing well, and I also think that they're not only back, but they've taken some lessons along the way because they had to take some lumps. Even though they just have 3 losses, I think they've learned a lot in those 3 losses, and I think the close games, they learned a lot too as far as trying to finish teams off because you look at the UNLV game, when UNLV tried to make their runs and stuff like that, the Lobos just took their best punches and just answered, man. And I mean, they really answered. They would just extend it back out to 10 points again. They just kept answering the bell.
Yeah, I think the thing that they need to learn is...
That was in front of a sellout crowd on the road.
In front of a sellout crowd on the road, but that run was still too big for UNLV, 20-4. They need to kind of have a slump buster in there a little bit when they start feeling things get out.
Slump buster, be careful.
No, not like that. Like the thing that they did really well against BYU when they were here, and they do really well against ranked opponents usually is when the other team gets on a run. Darius Gary will just look kind of for a hole, try to draw a foul, get to the free throw line, slow it down.
He does a great job.
When a team gets on a 24 run, you're not doing enough of that, putting it into the Nate Garth, into the Darrington Hobson hands. So, I don't know. I think that's the one thing they should work on, and that'll probably help them if they want to go, to a Sweet 16 or perhaps an Elite 8 appearance.
Well, I think tomorrow we'll know a lot on the road at Utah. They need to win this game. I mean, if they lost it, it's not the end of the world. I think they'll win, but wow, it's just always tight, man. The history there, they've won 6 there in the program's history, and only lost 52 times and only won 6 of them. But with that said, one of those victories came from Steve Alford, and he almost had another one last year. And so, I mean, he got beat at the buzzer last year. So Alford, since he's been here, he's had better luck than Lobo coaches. And if he wins tomorrow, that'll be the first Lobo coach to win at the Huntsman Center twice. So there's not having been a coach to win there twice from here. So we'll see.
History.